Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're just giving people a few minutes to get in before we get started. Thank you so much for coming for this developer showcase with Eric Oemig. My name is Kari Lisa Johnson, and I'm the marketing director for Boom. And again, we're so happy you're here. And we are going to post some links in the chat that'll help you get to Boom Learning's YouTube channel, Facebook channel, the full symposium schedule, and the next event. So I'm very excited to be here with Eric today to talk about some of the recent releases and the development projects that are in the works. Again, thank you all so much for being here. This is going to be really exciting. For those of you who just saw Della's presentation, let's give it up for Della because she did a phenomenal job and told us a very inspirational story and got us all excited for the 2022-2023 school year. So right now, we're just letting the last couple people pop into the Zoom session. We'd like to ask you to put in the chat where you're from. We love seeing all the different states and countries represented. And we wanted to let you know that we are recording this webinar. So you'll be able to find the recording on our YouTube channel. We're also live streaming it on our Facebook channel. So we have the chat box for conversations, comments, and then we also have a Q&A link where you can ask Eric questions. And you'll find links to our YouTube channel, Facebook page, and other events. So we're also offering certificates of attendance for all of the events that are part of the symposium. So to get a certificate of attendance, what you'll need to do is fill out the form that's provided in the follow-up email. So you'll need to answer a few questions to confirm that you attended the entire event. And you also need to provide some information about yourself. So at the end of the event, we'll be reposting the links to our social channels, as well as the link to the next event on the schedule, which is how to get Boom for your school. And that's an info session. So that link will allow you to move into the next room to continue following along with the symposium. So be sure to copy and paste any resources from the chat before the end of the session. That way you won't lose access to them. Now I'd like to introduce Eric. So Eric Oemig is the co-founder and CTO of Boom Learning. While serving in the Washington State Senate, he was the vice chairman of the Education Committee, and he served on the Quality Education Council. And he was a leader in passing landmark education reform in the state in 2009. So welcome, Eric. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share.
Great. I think I might have already taken over your screen.
Perfect. Even better.
Great. Thank you. Let me know if there's any audio or video problems, and I'll just go ahead and get started. Thank you, Kari, and thank you everyone for joining in. I've met quite a few of you over the years. I'm excited to talk a little bit about today what we've done recently and what's coming up. I'm especially happy to kind of give a preview about what's coming up. So I'm just going to remind some new things that we've done, and remember, all the things that we do because you guys are asking for it, and I wish we could do all of them, but we do have some great new engineers on the team. It's really improved our ability of at the speed at which we can add these new features. So a couple that I'm going to just demonstrate before we jump into what's coming down the pipeline soon is I want to show off this chained images, and this was, of course, something that you guys have been asking for quite some time, and we finally did it. I'm just going to show you first how it impacts. By the way, if you have questions, comments, or any concerns, jump them in the chat. I'm looking at my screen, so I can't really see what's going on, but Kari will interrupt me and share your thoughts. So let's see how this impacts the students first, or what that experience is like for the student. So with a chained image, when you tap the image, we just advance to another image and then we loop back from the beginning. And so this allows us to do map overlays or, an X-ray view like this, or Easter eggs, all sorts of different things that can happen in a chain. And then I also want to point out it's closely related to tap to hide images. So if you want to put hints, and I'll show that in a second. But quickly, how do you use the chained image? Is once you've dropped an image on your page, if you scroll down to the image properties down here, we've added a new option called add a chain image. And so this is what's considered the anchor image. And so if we pick an anchor, let's take this as a good anchor image. And then we want to add a chained image that shows up here, and we can remove it. But now if we run this is an anchor image with a single chained image. And so that'll just loop around. And so now we see this kind of like this map effect of toggling. I said this is related to or similar to tap to hide. Tap to hide is something that you can actually, anything in the card can be coded to tap to hide. And so here's an example of some text. And if we say we want it to hide when tapped, then let's see what happens when we actually, for the student, we tap it, it fades out. Here's another tap to hide. It reveals something. So again, we can hide hints or little adventures for the students to find. And here, when I hide that text, so this kind of looks like I'm doing chaining, but all I just did was layered up several different pieces that faded out over time. And I want to show that just quickly and remind folks about this feature that we put over here quite a while ago. I'm not sure if people have really discovered and enjoy this as much as I do, but once we've put down and this image, we've hidden everything, and it's like really inconvenient to find it. So you can always tab around in here to select the thing you're looking for, or you can use this thing. So that gives you an opportunity to change some of the settings. For instance, maybe I want on this image, I want to, chain it or tap to hide it or add some other settings. And rather than having to, destroy my deck, select it this way, then, then put that thing back, we have a little bit of opportunity to do that there. I wanted to mention one more thing on here. It's a subtle thing, but some people ask, like, why can't I do this to an answer? So if this guy's tap to hide, he can't be an answer. If I say that he is an answer, so maybe I wanted it to be a wrong answer, and then I say, well, if it's a wrong answer and you tap it, I want it to disappear. As soon as we say hide when tapped, we disable any answer responses, because we don't want correct answers disappearing. We really don't want wrong answers disappearing either. What we want is the student to get the experience that they're used to, which is if you select a wrong answer, it gets grayed out, it's indicated as a wrong answer, and then it shows that way in the reporting for the teacher later. Okay, let's go to another couple of quick things, and this is for accessibility. We've done a lot of work recently. I'm not sure if we've got everything quite perfect, so we'll take any feedback from you folks that have kiddos that are using switch or alternative input devices or screen readers. Let's just see how this looks like to the students. So we've made everything now keyboard accessible, and you might go like, well, why is this image keyboard accessible? And on my browser, it's pink, and this is because some while ago, my daughter and I were setting up my browser settings, and I don't know how to unset that pink. So, but I do like pink. Your browser will highlight it however your browser does it. That's not something that we're doing. That's user customizable. So I can shift tab to go back. I can tab through here. And we can also get into the toolbars, and whatever's selected, then if you use the enter key or the space bar, you get the right behavior. So that was a tab to hide. And then when I tab over here, oops, that wasn't the right answer. And, there we go. Okay. So there's another quick thing that's sort of related here, which is what's known in the browser speak as alt text. We're calling it accessibility text. So on any image, if you want to add words for a screen reader to help understand what this is, you tap here. This currently says face, but really what this should be is like teacher showing an iPad or something like that, right? And then the screen reader can, as the student's tapping around or hovering, can tell the student what they're seeing or what's selected. Okay, I'm going to go on to, I had something else in here. I don't have any demos for these, but I just wanted to talk about this for two reasons. So first, I want to talk about private video, because we get a few people who are pretty vocal that say, I really would like to do video, and I'm sensitive to that. And we'd like to do video too. In fact, we'd like to do it so much, we wrote a ton of code to do self-hosted video. We also recently reactivated YouTube for privately published decks. So that's why it's called private video. And our thought was, you've let us know that there's some other video hosting services you'd like to use. What we're doing for those is we're saying, hey, if you want to use it in your classroom or with your colleagues in your school as a private or a school published content, you can use some of these other video sources that we don't think are very polite to the privacy of kiddos. And that's why we originally turned them all off. We're still supporting Vimeo out of the box, which I don't think they're particularly great either, but we're not planning on pulling that feature. So you still have the Vimeo video source that you can use. I know there's a few folks like David Sindri who does a lot of really interesting things with video. If you're doing stuff, chat it, email it, let us know how you're using this, how this would impact you. If you want to maybe move the priority, because as you see a bunch of other things that we're doing, polishing up and getting the private video, or excuse me, the self-hosted video, the boom hosted video is, kind of sort of at the bottom of my priority queue, because I think it hits the fewest students. And the way we prioritize our work is always like, what's going to have the best impact for kids, then teachers, and then authors. And that's our stack rank. School delegates, I'm not going to do any demo on that, but we've also added this ability by request. We used to have, an IT person was supposed to manage school accounts, and now we're allowing the IT person to invite any teacher who's in the school to also act as a delegate and get full administrative privileges. Okay, so with just that kind of cursory kind of description, I want to jump into what's coming next, and that's the really fun stuff. I think that's probably why people are here, right? They want to see what's coming next. So here's just kind of a quick overview of some of the things we're going to talk about. I'm going to demo these. And by the way, if you look at my address bar, you'll see something that says boom demo, blah, blah, blah. So this is a little server hidden in a closet. If we get some weird latency issues on this server, it's because it's a teeny tiny little server in the back closet, not the real server. And what we've done is we've taken all these features that were not quite ready to go live. We put them all up on this server so you could see them here today. And then we expect to just over the next couple of weeks, we're going to push these out one at a time every few days. So voice memo, and I put a big caveat on this. So this one came from our SLPs, and let's see how this works. So we're going to preview this. And so voice memo is not voice answer. And I know Della Larson has been asking for voice answers for like the beginning of time. And sorry, Della, this one's still not that thing yet. In our first version, this is just for our SLPs to preview for the kids. So what would happen is the student's supposed to practice their words. They see the word written, they see it phonetically, and maybe they trace it. There's these different modalities. And one of the things they'd like to do is hear themselves. So I'm gonna practice the word watermelon, and then I stop it, and then I can hear myself saying it. It's the word watermelon. And, I didn't particularly like that, so I could do it over again. And watermelon. And so I'm practicing the watermelon, this thing. And so nothing is stored except locally in transient memory. Everything's over the top. So we don't have any privacy issues. We don't have any storage issues. Obviously, this begs the question, wait, why can't I get voice stored? And so we're planning to give that to I'm going to show you in the studio how this works. So on this card, any card could take voice, and we don't want everyone to, like the kids, to be like doing burp sounds in a classroom. So an author has to specifically say that there's a media option, allows a voice. And if they say allows a voice, it doesn't mean it's required. It just means the student can practice doing some voice things. And then if you look at this ink one down below, we could say we allow ink or requires ink. And so as soon as we've added what we think of as the best way to store and compress these audio options, then we'll have you can require it. And then that would have the student do just what we've seen, that experience of click to record, get the little blinking feedback, and then when they submit the answer, the voice would go along with it. The warning that I always give for both voice and ink, as well as open response fill in the blank, is a human has to grade those. So use them sparingly, because your purchasers, right, have to review and grade those things individually. And one of the things that Boom Cards was all about was saving teacher time by doing that auto grading. So, okay, so that's the voice memo. We're calling it memo because it's just a practice feature. Maybe we'll call it voice practice. It's not the voice submit. Let's go to the next example here, which is ink. And this one, we actually, for this demo, we kind of broke this. So I'm going to hold my breath and show you again. You can say you allow ink or you require ink on a card. And if you require it, it will get submitted. It'll be a drawing overlay, and it shows up really nice in the reports, because you go look at the report, you see the card, you see the student's ink over the top. And it's beautiful. But I'm not going to demo quite that today, because like I said, we kind of broke our in the merge conflict, and we didn't get it quite right. But I'm going to show you the flow of how the ink would work. So when the student's looking here, we can't draw, because they might be doing drag drop or trying to interact with the elements on the screen, which is a complete contradiction against this ink thing. So our anticipation is that we're just going to have an ink mode, and then the student can draw over the top of whatever they want. And when they turn ink off, here I've hidden the ink, we'd leave that overlay there, and then they can again begin to interact with and then submit their answer. And then upon the submit, the ink goes up. And so with the allows ink, the student could doodle, draw, whatever, and that's just for working. It's not necessarily going to get submitted. If you put a requires ink, then whatever the doodle that the student does is going to go up with it. And I could anticipate that we might even want a third level, which is we'll take the ink and we'll send it, but it's not part of the grading, and it's only just there for backup if and only if the teacher wants it. That way we can still auto score it. But those are just still some of the final details that we're trying to iron out on ink. So that's a quick peek at how we're anticipating to use ink into the future. Let's see, what else do we have coming up? So I think for this one, let me just a couple of things I want to show. And if you've been on the main website, you've probably already seen this. We've got a new cart here. And unfortunately, my cart's got a little bit of issues, but let me go to the store. I see my little cart icon, and instead of the unattractive dialogue that pops up in the middle, what we're doing now is we're taking them to a cart page, and it's just a much more attractive layout. But the thing that you guys have been asking for a long time, and that we finally solved, is we're allowing people to make purchases with dollars instead of points. So if they use the currency selector to US dollars, all the prices switch to a US dollar price. I see that Della's going like, thanks. Yeah. So, the educator in me wants to just kind of over-explain this a little bit. So, I want to point out, like, we have products that are for sale for $1, some are for 50 cents, $2, and the Visa tax is, oftentimes 30 cents, 50 cents. And since we give the vast majority of the money to the content creator, that 85%, you can imagine a $1 product, we're paying 85 cents to the seller, 15 cents is our service fee. And then Visa says, oh, by the way, you owe us, 25 cents. So we're losing money on those transactions. And then, not to get too political, but I am a political being at my core. The Visa lobby doesn't allow us to pass the Visa tax on as an add-on. But what our brilliant attorneys came up with is we can do a convenience fee. Since our primary payment is points, that's our primary payment. By allowing a US dollars payment, we can charge a convenience fee for that. We only do it if the cart is less than $10. We warn the user, we advise them that if they want to avoid the convenience fee, just to add a few more things to their cart. That solves this problem of us losing money every time you guys sell a $2 product. It's the small cart problem. And so anyway, like I said, I over-explained that, but that's been part of why we've taken so long to get here. And so we spent a lot of time. I want to thank the sellers in the seller group who gave multiple times we had meetings with you guys to get your opinions on how we should handle it. And you guys came up with the 50 cent convenience fee, and then the attorneys found out a way to kind of make that work. So great thanks on all that. Okay, so that's the cart. That's actually live. So here, if you look, I'm on the production site now, and we just put that out. Now, along with that, this is another great thing to point out, which is if we look at the store bundles, I don't know if you've been following John Oliver or some of the other great folks talking about shrinkflation. So inflation, where they make everything smaller, but they charge you the same price. We made everything bigger and we're charging you the same price. So you're getting more for the same price. So we've, in these point bundles now, you're getting more points because we've because we've created this other option with the convenience fee. So this is reverse inflation. So this, we think, is kind of probably a permanent pricing change here too. So, all right,
as an example, the $5 used to be what, 500 points for, or sorry, 400 points for $5. Is that right?
Yeah.
And now you get an extra 50 points.
Yeah, and I think it was 850 points for $10, and now you get exact price parity. You get 1,000, so an extra 150 points. Okay, so that's the coverage on the cart, and so that was kind of on the coming soon. But Mary was really cracking the whip on our team and saying, like, can you please just get this done for the Symposium, and we had some folks working over the weekend, and we got it rolled out on Monday. So we had half of the solution out on Friday, and then we finished it up over the weekend. So so that's the new cart. I'm just looking up here, and I don't have a lot of slides for a couple of these things, but another place I want to kind of take a peek is, actually, I think what I'll do, I'm going to drag this guy over. So this is also my demo. I just go to the library here real quick and show you that we've done some reskinning on the library, and this is only kind of half of the work. This will be coming live soon. We just think this looks a lot better, and then it also kind of gives us a more, with our restyled reports. We spent a lot of time over the summer really cleaning up these report screens, and so we have this kind of more consistent look. What we've done is people said, hey, I want more folders down the side. So everything that was over here before on these filters, we've just laid them across the top here. And then we've made these tiles a little bit bigger, and then we're going to restyle them again before we go live with this, where we make the thumbnails a lot bigger and kind of hide that action menu, because like when you click, we just want like all the actions to show up. And oh, wait a minute, what's this on my screen? A new option. We'll be back to that in a second. So that's a great feature that's we'll see in just a second. I'm going to pause here just for a second. I saw some things kind of coming into the chat through the corner of my eye. Kari, is there anything any specific questions I need to jump on before we move to the next section?
We had two questions. We had, what's the difference between a typed answer in ink, and will the students be able to use a background image to circle and draw matching lines to submit? And I think those kind of have the same answer, because the answer is human scoring versus automatic grading. So the difference between a typed answer in ink and the difference between, circling something with ink versus clicking on a button.
Correct. Anytime you're using ink, and I know you're going to ask for it, can you do some AI and auto score it? Yeah, but later. So that's going to be on our someday maybe list. What happens now is if you use ink, all the ink is to, by our way of thinking, is some pixels on the screen, and we don't know how to translate that into a score. So if you want the kids to circle something that's in the background image, perfect. But when they submit it, all we saw is some circles, and we don't know if their circles are in the right place or not. So a teacher would have to manually, and if you haven't used human gradable before, today the way it works, and for the fish, we're going to probably move this prompt, I think, is actually in the wrong place. It's on the library. So one assignments needs human grading. And so when you come here and you click on it, then it shows you what the lesson is. And, for like fill in the blank answers, this one's a terrible demo because this one was never set up correctly. We see what the student replied. The author is supposed to show the canonical or best response, the exemplar, and then the human looks at it and then gives it a score on a 0 to 4 scale. And, and then once it's scored, there I gave them a 0.75 thing, then we're kind of done with it. And so now I have no more things that need scoring. And then it shows up in the reports as, needs scoring with a different color until you've scored it. And then it shows up as you'd expect now having been scored. Anyway, so ink works the same way. You get that preview of the card, you'd see the ink, and then the teacher would mark it as correct, incorrect, or some gradient therein. Okay, so that's human scoring, and I hope that answers those questions. Good questions. Okay, so this
And
was
then the other question was asking what you meant, or can you share the library skin and the report skin? And so when you say skin, you're just meaning the new layout, correct?
Oh, yeah. So let's go back to production for a minute. So this is what my library looks today. So my library's got the folders here, and if you hit the chevron, you can get a few more folders. But people said like, this space is just wasted. Like, we don't like this. And then we had this little thing, like this little explainer text in here, and then these little library and cart buttons down here. So what we've done in the new look is we've put only folders along the left edge, and those filters now show up over here. So we're trying to kind of minimize those. They're still front and center, but you get more action on your folders for dragging and organizing and etc. So it's really a cosmetic change. And by the way, just to, I think these buttons just look so much nicer than the last buttons. So for those of you that have worked with me and know me pretty well, all these great changes are coming because we've got a wonderful, new designer, and we've got some great folks that really do a good job. When all of my demos that you've all seen, here's what I'd come up with. That's my demo. And then when Kari or someone else comes up, they go like, well, you need a couple of pictures. So I just had plain text here, and then someone went and added this picture here, and this one here, and they'll add. So I'm strictly a notepad kind of guy, and it's the artists. And when I say I can never believe what you guys build with boom cards, I could never build those things. You guys put dancing and cupcakes and jumping frogs, and I'm just like, I don't know what jumping frogs has to do with math, but wow, it suddenly makes a lot of sense. And yeah, so you guys are the creative ones, and then we just give you the platform of the tools. So when we talk about skinning an app, we're putting a fresh coat of paint around the screens that I designed a couple of years ago, that just make everything pop and look a lot better. So, all right. So I'm going to jump to the next thing. Let's see, what did we cover so far? We talked about voice, ink. Oh, you know what I subtly haven't mentioned in this whole time is in this preview. We've got this new student toolbar. And so this is, again, another thing by request. I don't have a good, this is terrible. Oh, here we go. So people have said, putting the little dinky toolbar off to the side over here was not what they wanted. And I'm not sure if this probably isn't quite the final, but we're getting a lot closer. So what we've decided to do is we're putting the navigation, we've split the student toolbar kind of into two bits. The what we think of navigation, the next and the previous buttons. And funny that I don't know why this one doesn't have a next and previous button. Oh, probably because I'm just in right, because I'm not a student, so this is just the author preview. So that's why we don't see all the rest of the nav buttons. But so we've made the big, more predictably, the submit button is bigger at the bottom and a little bit easier to find. And that's where it's always going to be, except if we're happy to be on like this weird, really compressed mobile screen, then we'll shove it to the side. But it's going to be more consistent, more guessable as to where it is, more obvious to the kids that it's, kind of at the bottom, because you read the content, you say, oh, I need to submit my answers. So this was feedback that you guys brought. So now that's coming very soon. And now let's go to, I'm going to take just a moment to mention two more features before we kind of wind the whole thing up. So we talked about the new player toolbar, the new library appearance, the new cart. Author delegates is a feature. I don't know how many people we really going to use this, but some people spend so much time on their boom cards, and then they actually hire people to help them with their boom cards, or they have a husband or something, or a spouse, I should say. I'm sorry. And they're like, I don't want them to have full control in my account. I just want to be able to go in and edit and make changes. So this one's going to take probably a little bit of time to refine it. But so what we've built is you can assign another user who can come in and create your content. And we might need to set up various levels of authority, because right now we're setting it up as the delegate can't publish or unpublish. You have to do final review. So the delegate can come in, use all your assets, make and edit any of your decks that are not in the store, and then you can publish them. If you say, well, I really want to trust that these guys can go take my published stuff and fix typos, we might have to do something like that. Okay, Canvas integration. Not a demo here. The demo is awesome, by the way. For those districts that are using this is a pretty big deal, and we've been getting this request more and more. Okay, so let's go to my last kind of big demo. Let's see, I think I've talked enough about the hosted video. I want to remind you again, if you have some thoughts about this, do let the team know. I think, Kari, is that just help@boomlearning.com is a great way to share your thoughts. Okay.
That's great.
For this demo, this is really came up a lot. Like, what's a HIPAA way that I can do boom cards? We get this question so much, particularly during the pandemic. Like, I'm using Zoom or some other screen sharing service, and when I do it, like, I can tap, but the students can't tap, or I can't legally look at their screen because of HIPAA. So it turns out we have all these, so then I have to share anyway. So to solve this problem, we originally started visioning this about how do we solve this problem to a remote therapy. But the more we started working on this, the more we thought, wow, this is going to be great even for non-remote cases, for just trying to look over the shoulder of your student, or allowing a student perhaps to do like a raise their hand when they're with potentially parent volunteers or something. We'll keep working on that. We got a lot of great ideas. Let's just see how the feature works. So I'm going to pop out of here for a minute. So that I was in the studio. I'm going to go to my library, and let's take a look at this deck. And I kind of hinted, we've got this new thing. So this is starting a live session. And so here, if I'm going to do this, and I'm going to hold my breath and pray that nothing crashes. I'm going to pop over here to the chat. And if anyone wants to really appreciate the hands-on demo, did that go through? Yeah, I think there's a link. You can click the link. And so again, this is a little tiny server that's running over in a closet. And what happens when you connect to this is, I see no one's connected yet. All right, well, I'm going to do one. So what I have to do this for the demo anyway. So I'm going to just make this screen a little bit smaller. And that should be small. I'll put it up here. That should be small enough. Okay.
I think you have to share the student play link that you just showed on the screen.
What's happening? I'll show you what's supposed to happen. And if people aren't seeing this, then maybe I did something wrong. So if I say new private window, so this is what you guys should be able to do, is when you do this, is that what's happening for you guys? Oh my. I have a bad feeling my server crashed. So that makes the demo not as interesting. So yeah, I was afraid if we put too many people on that dinky little server, it might not be able to handle it. So I think that's what's happened. Let me I'm just going to go hop over here for a second and see what our server is doing. Oops.
In the meantime, I can tell you about something else that's coming up soon, which is prizes for referrals. So that's something we're going to get started around back to school. And we're going to be giving away t-shirts and mugs and things like that for referrals when you refer someone and they start becoming a Boom subscriber. So that's really exciting. And we can talk in the social hour this afternoon about what your preferred prizes are, because we haven't bought the prizes yet. So if you really want hats or t-shirts or whatever, just let us know.
Yay. Okay, and we're back together. I did overload my server, and I can see he's really not happy. This machine that's running this is kind of at his maximum memory capacity. So there might be some latency. He might crash again. I see you got 20 folks connected to him right now. But let's just do the best we can to get through the demo. And so first thing I'm going to show you is here's the different users who've connected. And it would be a free-for-all disaster if all you little kids could start controlling the mouse. So by default, you get no controls. And so in this screen, I, as the presenter host, can grant out some controls. So Eric as a student, that's me over here. I'm going to give me mouse control, drag drop control, keyboard control, and then I save that. And the rest of you can see what I'm doing. And so, for instance, and by the way, back to this new player. So here's the navigation section of the toolbar that we talked about. Here's the progress indicator. And then here's the usual student controls for interacting with the card.
Do you think you could give up mouse control to one of the people in the audience?
I surely could. Let's go ahead and do that. Whoever is Karen SLP, you're gonna be able to do something. And what Karen could do is, like this student here can do this. You can tab in here and start typing. Oh, maybe, or no, let's see. So this guy can type. I thought I gave this guy control too. Let me see. No, this guy is apparently not working. Maybe Karen's not working either. Karen's going, wait.
She said she already popped out of it. So maybe try somebody else.
Oh, okay. Oh, and we didn't update our thing. Oh, here's Della. Let's see if Della's still online here. So we'll save that. Okay, yeah, I see Della's cursor's moving around. We broke the cursor. Hey, thanks, Della. We broke this cursor tracking when we added this new toolbar. So we'll get that fixed up right. But so Della's running the screen, and we can revoke that control from Della. Della, if you know the answer to this,
pressure's on.
I'm told the answer is 8.
Just kidding.
but it's okay. So yeah, and so this is kind of it. So you get to see that. Oh, this doesn't look so good over here. Let's resize this. That submit. There we go. Great. So we have here is multiple people can connect to a live session. A teacher can initiate a live session. If we think this through and we want to have the ability for logged in students and teachers to just take control and jump into the session, we might do that. We'll be thinking through some of the other applications. But like I said, the most thing that we were really trying to solve was for those teletherapists to have a HIPAA compliant thing. And so we are not sharing screens. Nothing here is screen sharing. What we're doing instead is what we call a virtual screen share. And so the students are doing things in a sandbox that we control, and then we're just transmitting that information and recreating the reality on the other screen. Oh, and I see we've somehow fallen out of sync here too, which is interesting. So
Eric, I just wanted to bring up one thing, which is that I was talking to Angie Kraft yesterday, and she had mentioned the potential for homebound students or students in the hospital who aren't having enough social interaction to potentially play a board game with other students. Is that something that would be possible with this?
Yeah, so yes and no. So this feature is really, we're working hard on just coming up with ways to create a shared space for a teacher or peers to see what's going on, to create those kind of interactive game modes. We think all the things that we built here, all that kind of that messaging technology and this whole extra layer of it's real interesting, right? If you think about all the things that we do today to pull down boom cards, to store the answers, to auto save the answers, to do all the reporting and to do all that thing is wonderful. It's beautiful. It's best of breed. But to do mouse tracking and keyboard tracking in real time, really fast across multiple machines, we had to build a different transport layer. And now that we've got it, and we spent a lot of time kind of perfecting that, now we go like, yeah, we can use this in whole new applications. So stay tuned for something like that coming probably next calendar year.
Okay, well, we're about out of time and we don't have any more questions in the Q&A. So at this time, I want to thank you guys for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this session. And if you did find this helpful or valuable, please post about the event on social media. You can use the hashtag Boom Symposium 2022. And encourage your colleagues to sign up to attend other events as part of the symposium. And just a friendly reminder, you can join us for our next symposium event, which is an info session on how to get Boom for your school. And that's starting next. And we do have a link in the chat. I'll post it one more time. The link's in the chat there. So the Boom Back to School Symposium has a number of different sessions, and we hope that you'll join us for all of the ones that interest you. By registering, you'll also receive a video recording, and we have a social hour at 3:30 p.m. Pacific that requires no registration. So feel free to pop in and say hi. So thanks again, and happy booming, everybody.
All right, I sent a quick note to Ashley for Canvas. Anyone else? Send us a note. We'll get you on the Canvas beta.
Yep. So if you're already registered for the next event, it will be coming in your email. And actually, I can post that right here as well. Here is the link for people who are already registered. Oh, we're glad to hear you're excited about voice memo, Laura. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to close this out. Thank you, everybody, and come join us in the next meeting.